The Redemption Road, Why It's Never Too Late to Begin Again. Have you ever looked at your life and thought, this can't be all there is? That moment when you realize you've been surviving instead of living. I recently had the privilege of interviewing Tamisha Williams, a woman whose story will fundamentally change how you think about transformation. At 44 years old, after decades in street life, Tamisha didn't just change her circumstances, she completely reinvented herself through faith and determination. Today, she's a powerful force, helping Black women and non binary leaders reclaim their authentic power. Her work isn't just changing individual lives, it's reshaping entire communities, creating ripples of transformation that extend far beyond her immediate reach. Her journey isn't just inspiring, it's revolutionary. Because here's what most transformation stories don't tell you: the most profound changes often happen when everyone else has counted you out, when the world has written the final chapter of your story, but you refuse to accept the ending. Think about that for a moment. 44 years. That's over 4 decades of struggle before her breakthrough. In a culture obsessed with overnight success and 20 something billionaires, Tamisha's story offers something far more valuable: the radical truth that it's never too late to begin again. I want to share 3 powerful insights from Tamisha's journey that might just change your life too. The first revelation: transformation is possible at any age. We've all internalized this subtle lie that meaningful change has an expiration date, that after a certain point, you're just too set in your ways, too damaged, or too far gone. We look at our lives and think, well, this is just who I am now, as if our identity were carved in stone rather than written in sand. But what if that's completely wrong? When Tamisha describes her awakening at 44, there's something almost sacred about it. After decades in survival mode, something shifted, not because circumstances magically improved, but because she made a decision to believe in possibilities beyond her past. This isn't some Pollyanna fantasy. This is the gritty, beautiful truth about human resilience. We are never finished stories. We are always works in progress, capable of astonishing reinvention. I'm reminded of those Japanese artists who repair broken pottery with gold. Kintsugi, they call it. The philosophy behind it suggests that breakage and repair become part of the object's history, making it more beautiful, not less valuable. That's Tamisha's story. That could be your story too. The second insight is equally powerful. Your story holds tremendous power, but only if you're brave enough to share it. When Tamisha founded her consulting firm, she made a radical choice. Instead of hiding her past in the streets, she integrated it into her work. She understood something profound: that her journey through hardship wasn't something to overcome and forget, it was actually her greatest asset. Through her consulting practice, she's now coaching Black women entrepreneurs toward thriving careers in environments where mentorship for women of color is painfully scarce. The setting is professional, but the challenges are deeply personal, facing systemic barriers like workplace bias, lack of representation, and limited access to leadership opportunities. Tamisha's solution wasn't complicated, but it was revolutionary. She created tailored coaching programs focusing on confidence building, strategic planning, and network expansion. The results speak volumes. Her clients report increased self efficacy, higher rates of promotion at work, and greater entrepreneurial success. But her impact doesn't stop there. At Tamisha Williams Consulting, Special attention is given to non binary leaders and women of color seeking advancement in traditional workplaces. These individuals face unique challenges navigating discrimination based on race and gender identity, feeling isolated without role models, experiencing burnout from constant code switching and microaggressions. Her approach, providing group coaching circles where participants share stories safely, developing individualized career roadmaps that honor each person's background, and creating affirmations that center beauty within diversity. Participants leave with renewed confidence to advocate for themselves. And some have even launched their own businesses after completing the program. Dozens have credited these sessions with changing my life by helping them step into authentic leadership roles they once thought unattainable. A ripple effect now exists as graduates mentor others facing similar challenges. Why does this work so powerfully? Because Tamisha speaks from a place of authentic experience. She's not theorizing about transformation, she's living it. This is the alchemy that happens when we stop hiding our scars and start seeing them as credentials. When we realize that our most painful chapters often contain our most powerful lessons. What story are you not telling? What experience are you dismissing as irrelevant that might actually be your greatest contribution? The third insight might be the most important. No one transforms alone. Support systems matter. This is where so many of us get stuck. We've been conditioned to believe that asking for help is weakness. That true strength means figuring it out on your own. That vulnerability is something to avoid rather than embrace. Tamisha's story demolishes that myth. Her transformation wasn't a solo journey, it was anchored in community, specifically a faith community that saw her potential when she couldn't yet see it herself. She found mentors, she built networks, she created space where mutual support wasn't just encouraged, it was the entire point. Now she's replicating that model through her consulting work. The group coaching circles she facilitates aren't just about professional development. They're about creating micro communities where people can be fully seen and supported. The results speak for themselves. What began as one woman's transformation has catalyzed dozens more. This is how real change happens, not in isolation, but in relationship. Consider this. What if your breakthrough is waiting on the other side of connection? What if the support you need to transform your life is already available, but you've been too proud or too afraid to reach for it? I'm struck by how Tamisha incorporated simple daily rituals into her healing journey. After leaving street life behind through spiritual awakening at age 44, morning walks became a cornerstone habit, including walking to vote alongside other empowered Black professionals. These weren't just walks, they were reclamations. Each step a declaration that she belonged in spaces of civic engagement after years of feeling disconnected from society. The challenge was real, breaking cycles tied to old environments, finding motivation amid skepticism about whether change would last. Her solution was brilliantly simple: establish small daily rituals, engage actively with community events, and share these moments online to inspire accountability. The outcome? Adopting healthier habits led not only to improved mental health, but also inspired followers who saw someone from the streets modeling positive change. Years spent surviving had left little room for self care until faith became central and routine acts took on deeper meaning during her reinvention. This visibility now encourages others facing similar transitions, that incremental steps can drive lasting transformation for themselves and those watching them reclaim agency over their lives. There's profound wisdom here. Transformation isn't usually a dramatic overnight event. More often, it's built through small, consistent actions that gradually reshape our identity. What small ritual could you begin tomorrow that might set your transformation in motion? I believe there's something universal in Tamisha's journey that transcends her specific circumstances. Whether you're trying to leave behind addiction, heal from trauma, pivot careers, or simply become more authentic, these principles apply. Believe transformation is possible, no matter your age or history. Share your story, the unfiltered truth of where you've been and where you're going. And perhaps most importantly, find your people. Create or join communities where growth is the point. So, where do we go from here? What do we do with these insights? I challenge you today to reject the lie that your past defines your future, to understand that the clock has not run out on your transformation, that your most profound reinvention may still be ahead of you. I challenge you to look at your scars not as something to hide, but as the very source of your wisdom and power, to share your story with someone who needs to hear it, because your journey might be the exact map someone else needs to find their way. I challenge you to reach out, to admit that you can't do it alone and that you were never meant to find or create the community that will witness your becoming. And I challenge you to start small, to identify one tiny ritual, one small habit that might become the foundation of your transformation. Because sometimes the most profound journeys begin with the smallest steps. Tamisha Williams shows us that 44 years in the streets doesn't have to define the rest of your life, that your past can become the foundation for your purpose rather than your prison, that the very experiences you've been trying to outrun might actually contain the seeds of your greatest contribution. The road to redemption isn't a straight line. It's not a neat three-act story with a tidy resolution. It's messy and beautiful and entirely worth traveling. So today I invite you, no, I implore you to believe that your story isn't over. That transformation isn't just possible, it's your birthright. That it's never too late to begin again. Because the world doesn't just want your redemption story, the world needs it.